So I just wanted to say a couple things about Gordon-Conwell while I'm at it here so you can see a little bit. So one of the things that, that I'm doing and we're doing is we're trying to create seminars, workshops, conferences, and courses that are partly based on campus. So here at Jacksonville would be great, but also things that could be done in the church, in our churches, because we must start having Christian education courses and sermons, but we need to have Sunday school classes where from a young age we're teaching kids a different kind of work ethic and teaching them to be creative and entrepreneurial in creating businesses so they don't grow up thinking that the gang is the only business in town. We've got to teach kids how to be entrepreneurial and how to treat people with servant leadership and things like that. So we need to have something in the church. We need to learn how to take our stuff downtown and into the workplace and create study groups and things like that, and also just how to translate for people who are not Christians. And I think we also need to be present in our business schools and not just leave our business schools alone. So InterVarsity and a lot of other ministries are doing things in business schools. One thing I also want to mention, and this is my last thing, I've got 2 other slides that will illustrate this, is we've created at Gordon-Conwell this Doctor of Ministry or Master of Arts in Religion program that's in workplace theology, ethics, and leadership. And what we basically do, and this will give you an idea of, I think it's the most exciting, interesting thing I've ever been involved in teaching in my life, even though it's about killing me, doing this thing. But what we do is over 2 years, we spend 6 intensive weeks in residency together, okay? So every 6 months, we get together and live together for 1 week and study. And so we've already done the first 3 weeks, but the basic structure is we spend a week looking at the theology of work. So what is theology about? Well, it's really, what does God think about this? Theology is the study of God. So what does God think? What does the Bible teach us about the nature of work and all these other things? And then we spend a week on workplace ethics, saying what's the right thing to do? So what do we do with that theology? How do we live it out? How do we figure out the right thing to do? And then at the end of this program, we're going to do a week on leadership. How do we help this kind of thing to happen? Now, in the middle, what we do is we do these content-oriented things about different aspects of business. So we spend 1 week on finance and marketing in Christian perspective. Then we spend a week, 6 months later, on technology and entrepreneurship in Christian perspective. And then we're going to do globalization and development. Now, why do we do those things? Because almost anybody, you people in business, would know that the big drivers of change in the business world are finance, technology, and globalization. That's what's driving change in the business world today, small and large. It's finance, the availability of money and what that's all about, and technology and globalization. And then we have these other sub-themes. So what we do in this program is we have the same group, it's actually 16 pastors and business people who are committed to this thing, and we've done the first 3 weeks. So we have done theology, ethics, and in January we spent a week in New York City. Now why do we go there? Because that's Babylon. That's, well, it's not, maybe some people think it's Jerusalem too. But anyway, that's the center of the financial world, the banks and all the rest of that. So we were touring the stock market. We were meeting with Christians at Goldman Sachs. And we also went to Abyssinian Baptists in Harlem because they are the world's greatest at Abyssinian Baptists at economic community development for people who have no jobs and for communities that are disintegrating. Abyssinian Baptist this was the church, by the way, where Dietrich Bonhoeffer was completely turned around in his commitment to costly grace and discipleship. But anyway, we went there to study what can we do in our churches to do economic development and help people learn how to create businesses instead of letting our cities go down the tubes. We went to Redeemer Press and looked at their Center for Faith and Work, which is the world's greatest association, a church-based group for artists and business people and lawyers to get together and pray and study what their faith means for their work. So we did that. Week 4, we're going to Seattle. We'll spend a week, morning, noon, and night, living together, studying together, doing tours of Boeing, and Microsoft and some small startups and things like that. We're studying technology, and then we're going to Honduras a year from now to look at globalization and development. So in the end, it's this very hands-on meet the people, be on the ground, and we read a lot of the literature, secular business literature, but a lot of biblical studies and things like that to integrate all of this together. Well, that's an example of what we're trying to do at Gordon-Conwell, just to give you a flavor of where we're going. I just think it's the most amazing thing. And I'm here partly because Dennis is here. I met him 20 years ago at a Christian Ethics Society meeting, and at that time he was a pastor of a church, and I was an interim pastor of a church out in California, and we both met and kind of commiserated about how our churches are so hurting in terms of a lack of understanding of Christian values and how to take these into the workplace. And here 20 years later, I get to come back and work for him at Gordon-Conwell. But you are the fans and the supporters and the students for this kind of thing to be going on down here in Florida and the South, and I just pray that God will make you all a mighty army to make this kind of thing happen. So thank you very much.